You killed him! Ah! Ah!
Debbie.
So another season of Invincible has come and gone, and it's actually been pretty good. It's very faithful to this portion of the story from the comics, and there's actually a lot of things they expanded on. It gives more time and development to Nolan's relationship with Oliver. It makes Debbie a self-respecting woman who has no tolerance for Nolan's Freuding excuse for an apology. It continues to give deeper and more nuanced development to Nolan's humanity, and it makes Thrag a much more imposing and powerful villain. They also made incredible changes to the story regarding its plot twist at the end. Unlike the comics where Thrag immediately reveals himself, he keeps himself hidden to let Mark fester in his fears. It creates a real sense of tension as Mark goes through a wave of different emotions from how the Viltrumites could show up at any time. But as I continued to watch, there was this growing irritation that became a real pain over time. And that is the notion that the Viltrumites are set up to be this gargantuan threat to the universe and an unstoppable force to be reckoned with, when in reality they are some of the stupidest motherfuckers in the history of villainy. And the fact that they succeeded at conquering anything at all deeply eludes me. Let's go back to the past for a moment and see where all this idiocy stems from. Back in the days of yore, when people wiped their asses with rocks, the Viltrum Empire was run by Megatron. They're going about their business enslaving civilizations and using their resources for their own gain like true patriotic Americans. Until one day, some rebellious scalawags decide to blow them up. Now naturally you would assume this would call for a simple investigation, but Megatron and his pupil Thrag decide to just kill off the population. Only the noble Optimus Prime objects to this, but his efforts are to no avail. And this was Viltrumite's first mistake. Why are you killing off an entire population of people who are so technologically advanced that they're capable of creating bombs powerful enough to blow up Viltrumites? Have you seen the ass kickings these people take on a regular basis? These guys can survive literally anything, and these guys blew up 2 of them with some household appliances. The smart thing to do would be to leave them alive and try to do some sort of communication with them. It's an extremely valuable asset they can learn from, maybe even evolve their own technology in some way. But oh no, we have to crush any resistance and make an example of them. Right, because that went so swimmingly for Palpatine. And it also makes me think how many other times they've done this. Considering how impulsive the Viltrumites are, I doubt this is the first time they eradicated an entire civilization. Can you imagine how many valuable resources they just threw away by doing this? The Viltrumite people are needlessly wasteful for just getting rid of entire civilizations they could be trading with and learning from. What's the point of claiming the spoils of war if you're just gonna disintegrate the spoils anyway? They even consider executing Optimus Prime for being, you know, the only smart guy in the room. Well, joke's on you, assholes, because he thought of the idea first. So after the least convincing funeral in the universe, like not a single person was shedding a tear for their beloved leader. Come on, guys, don't you know you're supposed to do that or you'll get sniped from a distance? Anyway, Thrag assumes power and his first decree is to make everyone kill each other. Now, any self-respecting person would say to themselves, now that just sounds silly. But the Viltrumites are so brain-dead that they just decide to go along with it. What the hell? Don't listen to the obviously stupid man, you negative IQ douchebags. You are literally gaining nothing from cutting your population in half. What is even the purpose of this? To get rid of the weakness in the Empire? Take some powerlifting classes. And if it's to ensure there's no future betrayals, do a formal investigation. Are you just allergic to investigations? And where is the logic to this great purge anyway? Mayor Lionheart said it was to weed out the weak members of their society, but that's not even what they're doing. From what we see, the Viltrumites killed during the purge were either ganged on or sneak attacked from behind. Of course they're gonna die if you cheap shot them while they're not looking. That doesn't equal weakness. Not that it would have been any smarter, but wouldn't a much better idea be to host a one-on-one fighting tournament? That way the fights would be fair and you can actually separate the strong from the weak. Doing this unorganized battle royale doesn't guarantee or prove anything. And if anything, it probably ended up killing the actually strongest members of their empire. This guy could have ranked 3rd place behind Conquest and they just jumped him. The only way I can see this making sense if this was actually part of Thrag's plan to retain power for himself. Like killing everyone who could overpower or overthrow him. And even that doesn't make sense because you're still killing off loyal assets to your end goal. You might have even survived the Scourge virus if you didn't kill off half your population of scientists and medical research groups. And even after the purge, they still engage in so much cultural stupidity. So you're telling me that the Viltrumites send their kids to kill each other while they're still in school? Oh hell no! Imagine your parents taking you for some back-to-school shopping, buying necessities like pencils and scissors, and your very first assignment is fighting each other to the death. Dude, I just found out that 100 isn't the last number. I'm not prepared for Mortal Kombat. And immediately after that, we see that the rite of passage when you come of age is getting your ass kicked by your parents. No wonder Jonah Jameson was an asshole to his son. Imagine graduating from high school and then your parents tell you to fight for your life. They literally set a precedent that would prevent any of their young from going into capable soldiers to serve the Empire and make them stronger. And even on top of that, they're shown to kill their workers just for getting a tiny bit tired. Maybe you can do something more reasonable like give them some water or reduce their pay? Just something besides killing their labor workers. This is exactly why the Scourge virus nearly wiped them out. Because they were so wasteful and trigger happy with zero restraint that they just pissed away so many invaluable assets to their cause. Maybe if you weren't constantly treating people like shit, you would be profiting from them. What is their metric even supposed to be? Are they just assholes who think being bigger assholes will get them what they want? That's the mindset of that kid who steals your lunch money, not a totalitarian galaxy-wide empire. They never had any problems with weakness or compassion for their enemies. They literally suffer from terminal stupidity. It's actually a miracle that Omni Guy is still alive because realistically he should have been killed 20 times over by his own people. I understand wanting to live by power and strength as an example, but these were the absolute worst ways they could have possibly gotten that point across. And if anything, this is exactly what leads to their downfall. Because the only reason Tenzin was sent to Orath at all was to see if they were capable of breeding with us after their numbers started dwindling. And what do you think could have possibly been the cause of that? I swear, the Viltrumites are the stupidest, most frustratingly idiotic overlords I've ever seen. We were really supposed to be afraid of these guys? They literally caused their own destruction through sheer lunacy, wasteful behavior, senseless eradication that doesn't benefit them at all, a backwards logic culture, and Thrax's supreme arrogance. The Purge didn't do anything to make them stronger. There would have been twice as many Viltrumites or even more considering how their empire expanded over time. They eradicated really smart servants for acting rebellious, which impeded the advancement of their technology, and they had a very self-destructive system that actively prevented them from recruiting and training more soldiers. The Viltrumites were only so strong because they used dirty tactics to remove anyone they considered a threat, and they claim others being naturally weak as a justification for their subjugation and extermination of other people. Oh, and did I mention how they made the Scourge virus situation even worse by forcibly isolating themselves on the planet's surface? They prevented people from leaving the planet, thus assuring that everyone would get infected. And on top of that, they even kill off their slaves who were, you know, the thing you usually do during an outbreak? Caring for the sick? How retarded are these bums? It's like they actively want to go extinct. What, to keep the sickness a secret and create a false image of strength? Your people are dying by the millisecond. Get over that only the strong bullshit and do something! You know that old saying you're only as strong as the weakest link, which encourages us to improve the bonds between the chains? What the Viltrumites are doing is constantly cutting off access to that chain until it's not a chain anymore. It's barely a tightrope. Instead of buffing themselves, they just nerfed themselves. The only smart thing they've ever done is actually see the bigger picture of their situation after their planet was destroyed. Seriously, how did these idiots look at their overlord telling them to cut their military forces to less than half and genuinely believe it was a good idea? As someone who knows what happens later from peeking at the comics, I'm really looking forward to their time on Earth knocking the stupid out of them. But holy shit, everything we were led to believe about the Viltrum Empire was nothing short of a disappointing lie. They might have actually won if they exercised their brain cells for 5 minutes or so. But these guys took pride before a fall to a cosmic level of extremes. I'm still looking forward to what happens in Season 5, and I have no doubt they'll continue to improve the story of the comics. But yeah, the Viltrumites turned out to be the stupidest villains of all time, and all the time we spent being scared of them was nothing short of playing ourselves.
Debbie.
Do a barrel roll.